Pascal. You are now rocking with that dude Pascal.
Diddy's lawsuits, I don't think are ever going to let up. And I think they're going to get even crazier as time goes on. Now, don't get me wrong. We've heard some crazy lawsuits, but this one is absolutely insane. And again, we got to take everything with a grain of salt. Diddy could be innocent until proven guilty in a court of law, especially with these kinds of lawsuits that are coming towards him. This one is saying that he has some seriously deviant behavior. But I will also say this, though. We've been known that, okay? If you were watching anything with the trial, if you even watched 5 seconds of the trial, you already knew that Diddy had some deviant behavior, had some very bad behavior. Let's be real, okay? But again, he got out of that place, out of that situation by the skin of his teeth, all right? And of course, he's still going to be locked up for a few years, but for not very long. Let's be completely real on that. But we got a new lawsuit, and they're saying he's got some deviant behavior, and it also involves the Notorious B.I.G, or at least his clothing. Now, I can't show you the title because the title is spicy as hell. It's messed up, and I'm giving you a fair warning. There's going to be a slew of code words being used in this particular article because, again, you can't say certain things online. There are things that I cannot say online, unfortunately, but you'll get the gist of it once we get into this. But again, we have a John Doe coming out and saying that Diddy was very aggressive towards him and finished into a garment that used to belong to the Notorious B.I.G, Biggie Smalls, all right? And he threw that garment onto the accuser, okay, with this stuff, with his stuff, with his juice, lack of a better term, okay, his spilt vanilla milkshake, okay, all over the garment, got onto the guy, okay, onto this accuser. And again, very, very insane stuff, okay? And apparently this guy is suing for SB and of course is going after some serious money. But let's take a look at this, guys. I mean, let's be real. We already knew that he has some very, questionable ways on how he, does things behind the scenes, behind closed doors, in his private chambers, or in the privacy of these hotel rooms. But I didn't think it would be like this. Now, again, like I said, innocent until proven guilty. There's a lot of people putting out accusations towards Diddy right now, and then some. And I'm telling you right now, it ain't gonna stop anytime soon. Now we got Notorious B.I.G's name getting dragged into this. And of course, he was not there, R.I.P. Biggie, but his clothes were. Okay, now let's take a look at this. This is absolutely crazy. So apparently Diddy used this shirt that used to belong to late Notorious B.I.G, okay, and he finished, all right, into this particular garment. Then he threw that particular, soiled garment, okay, onto another man's lap and arm, getting his juice, for lack of a better term, all over the guy, okay? At least this is what is being said in this lawsuit. So the music mogul is being sued by a John Doe who alleges a bunch of spicy deviant dealings with Diddy over the years. So in the lawsuit, the guy claims that around September of 2020, so not very long ago, guys, not very long ago, just 5 years ago, okay, or, coming up to 5 years ago, all right, he was in a listening session with Diddy for a Biggie Smalls project when he says Diddy pressured him into taking K. Then he claims they went to a warehouse in Los Angeles where Biggie's clothes were in storage, and Diddy provided more substances to everyone that was there too. And then he says folks were running all over the warehouse, just tripping balls, right? Moving on. He says here, the guy claims he ended up in a room alone with Diddy, who he says started watching spicy content on his phone, maybe some of his freak-offs, maybe his freak-offs greatest hits, some boner jams. Let's just be real, okay? He claims Diddy grabbed one of Biggie Smalls' shirts off the rack and began to use it on himself, okay? Then he says Diddy told him to help him finish, okay? and claims Diddy finished into this particular shirt before he could actually react, before the plaintiff, before this accuser could actually react by saying like, no, you know what I mean? So apparently he's like, help me. And he already helped himself, for lack of a better term. Moving on. What's more, the guy claims Diddy laughed and tossed this soiled garment onto this accuser's lap and arm, laughing again, saying, R.I.P. Biggie, before leaving the room. How diabolical. That is some nasty, nasty work, okay? In the suit, the man also alleges that way back, 15 years before this incident happened, apparently Diddy showed himself, if you get what I'm saying, okay? Shoved his self into the man's face and told him to, handle the business with his mouth. He's suing Diddy for SB, intentional infliction of emotional distress, and more. And he is going after Diddy for damages. Again, going after the Monies, all right? And then, of course, TMZ, the article we're reading here, reached out to Diddy's camp, and there's no word back. And, of course, they're probably going to use a rubber stamp response as they have lately. Now, here's the thing. If this is remotely true, this is the most nastiest work I've heard in a while. But at the same time, we've heard nastier in the courtroom. So I feel like we're now at this point where we're just absolutely numb, right? We're just absolutely numb to all of these allegations because we've heard so much in that courtroom. We became reluctant besties of Diddy because now we know the full. We know him 360, okay? We have a 3D version of Diddy, okay? Not anymore can we look at him as the music mogul or the fashion mogul or the brand or the media mogul that he cultivated over several decades. No more. Now we know him as an sexual deviant, okay? Now we know him as a nasty mother lover that likes to do some nasty, nasty work. Let's be real. So hearing something like this isn't super far-fetched, but at the same time, it could very well be false. It could very well be fake news. Again, we've said this a million times before. There's going to be a lot of accusers, a lot of filing that's going to be coming out. And some people are going to be telling the truth. And then some people aren't going to be telling the truth. Some people are out here just to grab a bag, guys. Some people really are out here just to grab a bag. But the fact that they're bringing in the Notorious B.I.G. part is just insane to me. I'm just going to be real. It's absolutely crazy. Do I believe this lawsuit? I don't know. Maybe it's true. Maybe it's not. We're going to have to see if this actually lives long enough to see the inside of a courtroom. Okay? There are other lawsuits that I never couldn't. I was like, it's too good to be true. And they still ended up going into courtrooms, right? Or they ended up getting settled by specific people, kind of like Diddy, right? So again, we're going to have to wait and see what happens here for sure. But what say you guys? This is absolutely insane. This is some nasty work. I will say that. I know I said it a bunch of times, but that's true. This is some seriously nasty work. Comment down below. Let me know what your thoughts are. Hit that like button down below. Crush that subscribe button. We'll talk here soon. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. This is The Pascal Show. Bye.
Pascal. You are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild.